Imagine walking into a doctor's office and walking out, not with a bottle of pills or an injection appointment, but with a simple instruction: get more light. It sounds strange, almost poetic, that something as ordinary as light could be prescribed like medicine. Yet for millions of people, light is not just comfort or atmosphere. It is information. It sets timing inside the brain, drives chemistry, and shapes how we feel. For some, the absence of light during certain months can slowly pull them away from themselves. This is the reality of seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, a serious and recurring form of depression that follows the rhythm of the seasons. And to understand it, we must step outside the clinic and look at how nature itself responds to light. As autumn deepens into winter, the natural world quietly transforms. Groundhogs retreat into hibernation, weasels trade brown coats for white, and birds fall silent until warmer days return. These animals are not weak or unmotivated. They are responding to a powerful biological signal: the shortening of daylight. Light tells living beings when to wake, when to rest, when to conserve energy, and when to thrive. Humans often believe they have evolved beyond this influence because of electricity, schedules, and modern life. But neuroscience shows that we are still deeply connected to seasonal light. For some people, when daylight fades, something inside the brain begins to shift. Seasonal affective disorder is often misunderstood as simple winter tiredness or a temporary low mood, but it is far more serious than that. Around 1% of people experience SAD in its clinical form, most commonly during fall and winter, with symptoms easing in spring. Many others experience milder seasonal mood changes. SAD closely resembles major depression, bringing persistent sadness, loss of interest in once-enjoyed activities, deep fatigue, changes in sleep and appetite, difficulty concentrating, and feelings of hopelessness. In severe cases, it can include thoughts of death or suicide, which is why it must be taken seriously and treated with care and compassion. At the center of this condition is the brain's internal timing system. Deep within the brain lies a tiny structure called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN, often referred to as the body's biological clock. This clock regulates circadian rhythms, the roughly 24-hour cycles that control sleep, hormone release, body temperature, energy, alertness, and mood. The SCN relies on light signals coming from the eyes not to help us see, but to help the brain know what time it is. When evening darkness arrives, the brain releases melatonin, a hormone that signals the body to prepare for sleep. When morning light appears, melatonin is suppressed, and the body shifts toward wakefulness. In winter, shorter days and darker mornings reduce the amount of light reaching the brain. For most people, the body adapts. But for those vulnerable to SAD, this reduction can disrupt the entire system. Waking up becomes harder, energy drops, sleep feels unrefreshing, and mood begins to sink. One leading theory suggests that in some people with SAD, melatonin is released for longer periods during winter, extending the body's sense of nighttime well into the day. This prolonged darkness signal mirrors what happens in animals that hibernate or change behavior seasonally. The mystery lies in why this response appears in some humans and not others, though differences in how the retina adapts to low light may play a role. Another explanation focuses on the timing of the biological clock itself. In some individuals, winter causes a phase delay, meaning the internal clock runs slower than the external world. Hormones associated with sleep remain active in the morning, making it feel as though the day has started too early. This helps explain why many people with SAD struggle intensely to wake up and feel more alert late at night. Their bodies are not lazy or uncooperative. They are simply out of sync. Still, scientists acknowledge that circadian disruption alone cannot fully explain the emotional depth of SAD, which is why psychological and social factors also matter. From a psychological perspective, people with SAD are more prone to rumination, a pattern of repetitive negative thinking that keeps the mind stuck on distressing thoughts. Beliefs such as "winter ruins everything" or "I can't function during this time" can intensify depressive symptoms and make recovery harder. Culture also plays a role. In societies that frame winter as something to endure rather than embrace, emotional vulnerability can increase. Interestingly, cultures that view winter as a time for rest, connection, and reflection may offer some protection against the sad. Genetics add another layer as multiple genes influence light sensitivity, circadian regulation, and mood, increasing vulnerability without determining destiny. There is no single sad gene, only a complex web of biological risk. While most people associate sad with winter, some experience the opposite pattern: depression during summer. This may be triggered by excessive light, heat, humidity, or disrupted sleep, reminding us that sad is not simply about darkness, but about a mismatch between the brain and its environment. Despite these complexities and unanswered questions, effective treatments do exist. Light therapy is one of the most well-known, involving daily exposure to bright, full-spectrum light in the morning. This light mimics natural sunlight, suppresses melatonin, and helps reset circadian rhythms, gently shifting the brain back toward a healthier, summer-like state. Because timing and dosage matter, light therapy should always be used under medical guidance. Other treatments, including antidepressant medication and cognitive behavioral therapy, are also effective for SAD. Therapy is especially helpful in addressing rumination, negative beliefs about winter, and behavioral withdrawal. Often, the most effective approach combines biological and psychological treatment, tailored to the individual. The most important message is this: seasonal affective disorder is not a personal failure. It is not weakness, lack of willpower, or lack of gratitude. It is a real condition shaped by biology, thought patterns, culture, and genetics. Understanding this removes shame, and when shame is lifted, people are more likely to seek help and heal. The darkness of the season does not mean the light is gone forever. Sometimes, the brain simply needs a reminder of it.